Hey everybody, this is Pastor Chris. I'm coming to you live from Lexington Park Baptist Church. This is PC Studios and it is July 25th, 2024. How in the world are you doing? I hope you are blessed and highly favored by God. Good to be with you here today. Make sure you sign in. Let us know you're with us. If you want to be live with us at this noon hour, you need to be at facebook.com/Pastor Chris McCombs. But you can be on YouTube channels and Facebook channels and Twitch channels with either for Pastor Chris or for Lexington Park Baptist Church. Thanks for being here with me today on the program. We're picking up with Experiencing God Reality number 2, which is God pursues you in a love relationship that is real and that is personal to you. And as we look at this love relationship, we looked at a lot of things this week. We've looked at it as God commands it. We know that there's this command to have this love relationship. He's the one pursuing it. We know that he always takes the first step. He's the pursuant one. The cross proves his love for us. We've talked about that. And then yesterday we looked at the fact that this love relationship is intended for us to live life now and also throughout eternity with Jesus Christ. And so today, this love relationship is based on the character of God. Sometimes people ask me, if you could describe God, if you could describe him in one word. Now, listen, he's a lot of things. Is he sovereign? Yes. Is he holy? Yes. Is he just? Yes. Is he merciful? Is he gracious? Is he kind? Is there wrath? Is there a part of him? Yes. There's a lot of component, a lot of attributes to God. But if you ask me, what is one word, what describes the essence of God? I would say love. Everything, to me, everything is motivated by his love. Yes, he's holy. But, I look at the holiness and love would be close to me. God's holy, God is love, because the Bible will say God is love and God is holy. So those two things clearly are there. But as I look at this, I believe love drives God, motivates God. He created us because he loves us. He pursues us because he loves us. He is merciful and gracious and kind and forgiving and gentle and all the things that God is because he loves us. Even his judgments, because he loves us. It's not because he wants to be mean to us or hurt us. He loves us. He wants us to love him back. And so when we look at God is love, that's the character of God. One, we need to reflect that character. So if you're out there today, the love of God should come into your life. You love God back and you love each other. We talked about that on Monday. But God is love. In 1 John chapter 4, John is writing to the church and he is describing this love of God. And I would say when we look at 1 John 4, when you look at verses 8 and 16, it's pretty clear. God is love. It says it just that way. And so when you look at this when you just look at defining God is love, in essence, that description of love. Now, what is that love? And that's a different story. When we have to break down, or pull the onion apart and start doing these layers to get to the essence of love, God doesn't love like us. God loves with a true, pure, holy, complete love that's for our good. I don't care what kind of parent you are. I don't care what kind of pastor I am. I cannot fully love others in the fullness of that. I have moments that I think I'm not seeking any self-gratification in this love relationship with a church member or with my wife or with my children or with anyone, right? To agape, this love that's not self-seeking but really is seeking the betterment of the other person. To love that way takes discipline for us because we're sinners, because we're selfish, right? So agape love is the opposite of this sin nature that we have. This says, no, I'm in this for me. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we attain in moments where we do agape. But staying in agape love is complicated and difficult for us because of our sin nature. We need God. But God's love is pure. God's love is holy. God's love is true. God's love is agape. And it's for you and me, our betterment. what is best for us. What is best for us means we may not get what we want. That's the whole key. So loving with agape love really is a love that is not self-seeking, but is seeking the betterment of the other person. So let's love that way because God is that type of love. And so when we look at God's love, the cross, remember what I've told you all week and in Sunday's sermon is the cross proves the love of God. Romans 5:8, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. That is, it says that proves God's love. So the cross is the proof. Well, the thing about the cross, that was not pleasant for Jesus. He experienced the wrath of God. He who knew no sin became sin, our sin, your sin, my sin. He bore our sin. So just the wrath of God, the sin poured out on him. I mean, the penalty of the sin, the abandonment of God, if you will, because my God, why have you forsaken me? The fact that he was inflicted with such physical pain. So you have the spiritual, this darkness of death, this darkness of sin, this putridness that God, this perfect Son of God had never known. He took on himself, paid our penalty. However, the wrath of God was poured out in that moment. God had to turn from the Son and the Spirit too. That feeling of abandonment, and then the taking on of our sin, and then the physical death of this. I cannot even imagine. We cannot comprehend that. But what I will say is this. That's how the cross proves the love. That Jesus would do that for you and me. That's just mind-boggling. That's just mind-blowing. That God, Christ, would do that. The cross truly proves this love. Character, God is love. The cross would prove that Jesus would agape us. He would seek us, not himself. In that moment, that's why I think he prayed, not selfishly, in the garden, God, if there's any other way, I know what I'm about to go through. Even Jesus was like, I don't know fully, but I know, is there any other way? I know what I think's about to happen here. And there was no other way. And Jesus willingly submitted to that for our good. So think of the character of God to do that. The character of God to love us despite ourselves, to love us perfectly, to love us purely, to love us for our good, our benefit, which is salvation. And so that's the love of God. And then we get to this next part. 1 John 4:19 tells us we love because he first loved us. Whatever love is in us, because remember, the character of God is love. So whatever love we have, if it's a true love, we love because he first loved us. We don't think that way, but this is why I say this statement. I don't say this to be mean. If you don't know Jesus, you don't know love. Not true love. Yes, the world can love with eros love, and it can be erotic love and bad love, but it can also be erotic. Doesn't just think of like sexual love, but think of a love that's really, it benefits me. I do care for the other person, but I do it because it benefits me. What do I get out of this? We do have a philia, brotherly love, where I do love the other person, genuinely care about the other person. I think the world can attain those type of loves. They can. Anybody can. But agape love, that cannot be done but by God. So if you love that way at all, it's because God first loved you. And you understand that love. You've let it in. You've received the love. You've responded to the love. And now you are giving that love back out. So as we look, it becomes part of your character. So God created us to love him. God loves us. And he created us to love him back in this love relationship. He wants us to have this. So remember that. To live outside of that love relationship is we miss God's work. We miss God's blessing. We miss the character of God. We don't really receive what's for our good. When we live outside that love relationship that God has for us, you may have a good life. You may say, hey, I'm loved by people around me. I have family, I have friends, I have coworkers. But you miss the love of God. And any love worthy of love, being called love, we love because we were first loved by God. When we receive that love and understand that love and share in that love, then we truly, truly are loving. And we're truly experiencing the blessings of love. And so the ultimate purpose is for us to experience God's love and then to share that love. And so I want to encourage you as we close this part of God's pursuing us in a love relationship that's real and personal, is that we really take this character of God's love seriously. That God truly in his essence and character is love, agape. And that he loves us. And then if we love at all, it's because he's first loved us and we understand that love and we're in this love relationship with him. So I want to encourage you and ask you a question that only you can answer. How is your love relationship with Jesus Christ? And I hope you can answer that in a very affirmative way. Because the closer you are to Jesus, the more you know love. And the more you know love, the more you can experience and share that love. Not only just in your life, but with family and friends and church and community. And God's love changes us. The proof of love is the cross. So if you want to know what love is, look to the cross. Look to Jesus and learn to experience this agape experience. A love that is not about selfishness or seeking its own, but seeking the betterment of others. Ultimately, I would say this. If we really love that way, we can't think this way in our head, but if we really love that way, if we love others that way, agape them, it will make life better. You may have to suffer. You may struggle. You may have pains. You may have to be selfless. You may have to give things up that maybe you wanted to better someone else. But as this love goes around and others love that way, it's reciprocal, you all. It comes back. We can't think that way, like selfishly. Like Jesus loved us with no guarantee that we'd love him back. I think the beauty with Jesus is, though, he loved us despite that. And now as we do love him, what a beautiful thing that is. We love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. Hey, God bless you. Have a great weekend. I hope to see you here Sunday. We've got a lot going on. And we'll be taking on the reality number 3. And we'll be beginning on the fact that God invites you to know him and to join him. Very important. So we move from God is at work to this, he's pursuing you, to now he invites you. He invites you to know him and to join him. Hey, God bless you. Have a great weekend. Remember these 2 realities. God loves you. So do I. God bless you. We'll see you Sunday.